Um, Thank you, Wendy. Um, we'll have that up on our website at some point this week or early next week, so that if you missed the member meeting or you want to pass the information on to anyone in your organization, you can do that. So welcome to our May Mental Health Month meeting. And we're excited to share with you our reboot of our resource-rich social media campaign. And this year, we're focusing on the fact that we're community strong and that we have a lot of supports that understand you and really understanding what that looks like and how mental health impacts different parts of our community. So, come on now. There we go. Okay, so here's our agenda for today. Like I said, it's pretty brief and some of it is a little bit of a review, but exciting and good nonetheless. So I am excited to announce and share with you, we have our new Community Suicide Prevention Coordinator with us. She is officially completing week 1, so we'll introduce her and then talk more about our campaign to raise awareness around mental health disparities and the resources that we have to meet the unique cultural needs of our community members. We also have had a redesign of our myconnectionnew.org website. So our resource navigation website is brand new and has a number of unique pages and some buttons to easily navigate that. And then wanted to provide you some updates and learnings about the Connected Fox Valley initiative around social connection, because it is so closely tied with mental health and mental well-being and some really exciting and intentional work happening there. So, but before we do that, I wanted to get, oh, where'd it go? There we go. Your input, recognizing how challenging the world is these days. Um, uh, the connection wants to make sure that we're supporting you, our members, as organizations. So if you wouldn't mind taking your phones out and scanning the QR code and chiming in on how the connection can support you, our members, during this time where the landscape is changing and it's hard to keep up sometimes in knowing what is happening when. There are a number of ways that we can do that, and I want to make sure that we're doing what's most useful to you, our members. One of the things that I had considered was creating kind of a one-stop shop around tracking some of these executive orders because they're changing so quickly, and then was informed of this wonderful one-stop shop that the Nonprofit Leadership Initiative has. Under their resources tab, there is a 2025 resources for preparedness and planning, where you can find a chart of executive orders and related actions from the National Council of Nonprofits. There is information on there from SHRM about the impact of executive orders and a guide for HR leaders. Also information on federal funding pauses. So just a ton of information there that is hard to make sure we're getting in one fell swoop. So check that resource out. And then also with all of the uncertainty that seems to be around us these days, United Way, Fox Cities, and NPLI are joining forces to offer this Navigating Uncertainty Through Financial Scenario Planning on May 22nd from 9 to 11 virtually. And I think it's only a $5 participation fee. So there's a link to that as well, and thought that that might be useful for all of you too. All right, and with that, I am going to turn it over to Lindsay to introduce herself.
Thanks, Sarah. Hi, everyone. I am Lindsay DeVries. I use she, her pronouns. Like Sarah said, it's officially been 1 week on the job. So I've just been really busy learning a lot and getting as much information as I can while not getting too overwhelmed. But yeah, I'm really excited and grateful to be here. I'm a longtime Fox Valley resident. I worked a lot in the higher ed landscape of things, mainly in student affairs and student services, and working with students with disabilities and a lot of that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm just really excited to be here and get started. And it was such great timing that we had a member meeting so close to me starting so that I have the chance to get to know some of you and for you to kind of see, my face, my name. Some of you have maybe gotten emails from me already. But yeah, please feel free to reach out. I would love any chance to get to know our members better and to know about your organization. Um, yeah, that's all I got.
We're really excited to have Lindsay taking over the initiatives of Project Zero. So she will be leading the work around the the Suicide Prevention Action Team. She'll be leading the work around the Mind Your Wellness 2.0 survey, as well as some of the specific adult suicide related initiatives that we have too. So yeah, really just excited to welcome Lindsay aboard and have her a part of the team. So. Okay, so our theme for this month is resource rich, community strong, support that understands you. And this is a reboot of our social media campaign that we ran a couple of years ago, where we asked you for all your information on programs that you wanted to highlight. And then we splashed social media, our Facebook page and Instagram with all of that information. And recognizing there are way too many surveys and everyone is really busy doing the work. We have taken a little bit of a different approach this year and redid our My Connection New website and created those pages for culturally specific resources. So all month long, we are going to be driving traffic to the website and want to encourage you to update your listing or add your organization to the myconnectionnew.org website. Um, we want you to be found, and that is the place that folks are going to find resources for mental health in the Fox Valley. And I will get into a little bit more on how you can update or add your organization. So stay tuned. And then our Facebook and Instagram pages are at New Mental Health Connection. Like, follow, and share. And we will be doing posts, like I said, all month long. And the more that we are liking, sharing, commenting on those, the greater the reach is and the more awareness we're going to raise around the disparities around mental health and the resources that are available for all of us. And then we also have a social media toolkit for you that will be on the organizational website so that you can just download that and upload it onto your own organizational social media pages. So this is our new redesigned myconnectionnew.org website. So when you used to come to this page, what you saw was the search bar with a whole bunch of information down below. And we have since created some navigation buttons and some specific resources associated with each of those buttons. And it will take us a while to make sure that we have all of the resources. So if there are things that we've missed, please let us know. Email me or Wendy to let us know if there are some resources that need to be added to any of those. And then off to the right-hand side is how you can add or update your organizational information. So under services on the myconnectionnew.org website, there are two options. One is update any listing and the other is add a new agency. So you get to do and add and change whatever you need to on the myconnectionnew.org website. And then we can update the specific resource page once you let us know, but your listing in the database will be updated if it needs to be when you take that action. So. Also new is the adult mental health screener. So we became aware a couple months ago that the service we had been using for our mental health screener for adults called MindWise was no longer going to be providing that service. So they're shutting down mid-May, and I thought, well, let's just make this change before the middle of the month so that we can share it with all of you along with our redesign. And it is through a site called Berry. And you can see on the right-hand side when you click on the checkup from the neck up, which is located at the bottom of the myconnectionnew.org website, it will take you to this purple screen, and it is the adult screener that we have always used. It just has a new look to it. So, and we still have our adolescent screener. That one hasn't changed, but the adult screener look has changed. So I want to tell you a little bit more about that. So you can screen for the same sorts of concerns on the checkup from the neck up, from anxiety to PTSD, psychosis, substance use concerns, as well as just an overall well-being. Something feels off, but you don't quite know what it is. You can click on that overall well-being survey, and it will provide you with some feedback and information on that. And this is what the results of a screener look like, which provides some really helpful and useful information. This one happens to be the results from a depression screener. And in the middle, you can see it provides a spectrum of where you might be at in severity of symptoms at the top part of the screen there. And then resources, it'll navigate you back to the My Connection New resource website, so you can search for providers in our area. And then it has this nice lifestyle factor section where it gives recommendations on things that you can try to do on your own that will also improve things that you're experiencing around poor mental health. So excited that we have this new screener, excited that it offers the same services and that we still have that ability to understand the struggles that are happening in our community and be able to share that data with you. So it has a really great analytics on the back end of aggregate information on the screeners. So. Okay, so with that, let's talk a little bit more about support that understands you and why we're doing this. So we know that there are disparities in health, and there are also disparities in mental health, often related to inaccessibility to quality healthcare or mental health care, cultural stigma around mental health or suicide prevention, as well as discrimination and just an overall lack of awareness of mental health literacy, as well as resources available to work on or address mental health concerns. So the goal of our campaign this year is to really better understand how mental health impacts our community members and work as a community to address these disparities, while also raising awareness of the amazing resources we do have locally and some national resources as well. So let's take a look at some of the specific pages on the myconnectionnew.org and the specific resources, some of the resources that are available when you go there. So when we look at our Hispanic neighbors and how they are impacted by mental health nationally, we can see that 21% of Hispanic adults had a mental health condition in the past year, and 14.6 Hispanic adults received treatment in the past year. 37% of Hispanic parents received a mental health, experienced a mental health disorder at some point, and that Hispanic individuals born in the United States have a higher rate of mental illness than those not born in the United States. So some interesting data there, and the resources, some of the resources you'll find when you go to the BIPOC button on the myconnectionnew.org include Casa Alba, Cultura Counseling, Us Too Behavioral Health. NAMI Fox Valley has some specific groups for Hispanic community members. Samaritan Counseling, and then there is also a hotline. On our Strong Minds for Men website, we have tons of information and have updated that as well. And what we know about our male neighbors is that 20% have experienced a mental illness in the past year, yet 50% of them will not receive treatment. We also know that men experience symptoms of mental illness differently. So it's important to recognize that what depression might look like in a female population is different than what depression might look like in a male population. In the resources, again, Strong Minds for Men has a lot of self-care toolkit, videos, podcasts, as well as readings that you can do to learn more about men's mental health. Dudes and Tacos, NAMI Fox Valley has a men's group. And there's also Man Therapy and Black Men Heal King's Corner are a few of the resources listed under the Strong Minds for Men on our My Connection New website. So our Black neighbors, the national data indicates that 20% of Black adults experienced a mental health concern in the past year, and 15% received treatment. 5% of psychologists in the US are Black. I thought that that was an interesting data point, and it holds true for our other BIPOC community members as well, that there is fewer BIPOC mental health professionals in general. And it's important that we are aware of that and that we are able to know what the resources are so we can point community members in the direction of services that are coming from folks that look like you or me or them, and how important that is in relating. So again, resources, some of the resources that are on our BIPOC page under our African American or Black resources, you can see listed on the side there, including a hotline. So what about our teen neighbors? Our Healthy Teen Minds initiative that just wrapped up last year did a ton of work in this space in getting sources of strength into our local tri-county high schools and middle schools. And we know that that made a huge difference in teen mental health in our area as compared to teens across the state and even teens nationally. So the national data tells us that 49.5% of adolescents have a mental health disorder at some point in their lives, and 20% report receiving mental health therapy, and 20% have unmet needs. We will never have enough resources in our community to serve the need. However, we do have some fabulous community partners, and you can see those resources that are listed on the My Connection New under the Healthy Teen Minds button listed there, and many more. So just highlighting a few that are at the top that are our local resources. Our Asian American neighbors. So the Asian American population or community is least likely to report a mental health problem or to seek help of any other racial or ethnic group. So the percentage on this of folks who reported a mental illness in the past year is 17%. And we know that that's an underrepresentation of what reality is. And 12% reported receiving treatment in the last year. I think what's interesting here too is Asian American as a demographic lumps a whole bunch of different people together. And so having resources specific to different populations, I think is important. And some of those are listed on the side there with New Hmong and the Asian Mental Health Collective. So those are a part of our BIPOC resource button on the My Connection New. And our LGBTQ neighbors, the national data tells us similar to what our local data told us from the Mind Your Wellness survey, and that is that our LGBTQ neighbors are 2.5 times more likely to experience a mental health condition. Transgendered adults are 4 times more likely to experience a mental health condition, and that our LGBTQ and transgender neighbors are being denied services. So raising awareness of what is available and what is out there and continuing to add to this button on our My Connection New is really important. You can see a sample of some of those resources listed on the side there. YouthGo has a teen group. NAMI Fox Valley is partnered up with Diverse and Resilient. They have a support group. There is also the Trevor Line and a number of other resources. So our Native and Indigenous neighbors, they are reporting serious psychological distress at 2.5 times greater than the general population. And that comes from the Indian Health Services website. And they also experience emotional distress in ways that are not consistent with diagnostic criteria. So it's interesting to consider some of the percentages that we've even talked about already, and how it looks different for different people in our community, and that a lot of underreporting may be we're involved in some of these percents. So Native and Indigenous neighbors are also more likely to seek help from a spiritual or traditional healer. And some communities have more resources within and non-traditional ways of handling health and physical health and mental health within their communities. And our Native and Indigenous neighbors are one of those. So you can see some of the resources that are listed on our BIPOC resource page there. And then our new parents, this is a bit of a beginning to some work that I think was started last year in exploring further what mental health looks like for new parents, and recognizing that this postpartum impacts both the birthing parent as well as the supportive parent, and that it needs to be something that's talked about, and there are resources specific to serve folks who are new parents experiencing some mental health struggles following the birth of a child. Some of our local resources include Cultura Counseling, as well as Farrar and Associates. So recognizing that 20% of new parents can suffer from postpartum depression, and that 75% of folks who are pregnant will not seek mental health treatment. NAMI National has a lot of really great information on their website if you want to dive more into some of that data. And then our social media resource campaign would not be complete without also lifting up our Mind Your Wellness 2.0 survey, which many of our community members have used the data from to guide their work for applications in grants. And this version of Mind Your Wellness has been updated with culturally informed questions. We talked with our community partners and revised the survey to ensure that we were asking questions that were culturally relevant to our cultural community, and ensuring that we are collecting accurate data on the constructs of depression and anxiety, as well as suicide behavior and lifestyle factors, so that when we get that data completed and analyzed, we'll have accurate information for our entire community that we will then give back to all of you probably late next year, or this year. I lied. So we need your help. We have a very lofty goal of 3,200 responses. We need at least 800 more responses in order to have statistically significant information and to be able to utilize the data for our Tri-County area. You might have seen some of these pieces of promotion out there. We had some stickers on coffee sleeves at Copper Rock and at Sweet Layer in Menasha with the QR code on it. There are wallet cards. If you or your organization is willing and wants to help promote the survey, we will deliver some wallet cards to you. We also have posters there is the social media campaign. And then we also partnered again with General Beverage to get some coasters out into our local establishments that have the QR code on it, to try to better spread the word and increase our responses. So the survey is open at this point till the end of July, and we need your help. So please let us know if you are willing to let us come to your organization and sit for 2 hours with iPads to see if any of the folks that you serve are willing to take the survey, hang the posters, share the graphics, and the social media posts for our Mind Your Wellness survey. All right, so a lot of the images that you just saw are the ones that you'll also see on our Facebook and Instagram pages throughout the month. So make sure to like and share those. And then, like I said, I'll share more about the social media toolkit a little bit later. And then I'm going to hand it over to Wendy.
Hello, everyone. Before I jump into an update on Connected Fox Valley, I wanted to invite you to submit any additional programs, supports, or services that we may have missed on our new resource pages. So we didn't do a survey and ask you all like, hey, what should we put on this page? We just did our research based on what we know about our community and all the programs and services that we discovered. So it's not a complete list, and it's going to continue to grow, and we want it to be really organic and grown by the community. So if we missed something or made a typo, you can email me, and we'll get the correction or the addition up on any of those resource pages. So thanks in advance for that. So in March, I did an overview and introduced our new initiative, Connected Fox Valley. So in case you missed it, I'll just do a high-level overview and then give you an update, because our advisory group, we had our first meeting back in April, so we're up and running and we're starting to do the work. So we launched Connected Fox Valley earlier this year, and the overarching goal of this project is to develop a set of actionable strategies to strengthen social connection in our region, which is Calumet, Outagamie, and Winnebago counties. So over the course of this initiative, we're going to explore the root causes of loneliness and isolation. We're going to take stock of all the work that we're already doing around social connectedness and evaluate what's working, what's worth elevating and sustaining. And then we're going to imagine new solutions that are grounded in science, our local data, and lived experience, and consider how we can create meaningful change together as a community. And so the end result is going to be like a kind of a playbook, a set of best practice and promising strategies tailored to our region and various communities that we can recommend to our community. So this initiative and the impetus for it was a response to the growing recognition that social connectedness is vital to our mental health and overall well-being. I think one of the most famous statistics to come out of the U.S. Surgeon General report in 2023, that is being socially disconnected can increase the risk of premature death on par with smoking 15 cigarettes a day. So since the pandemic, of course, there's so much awareness and willingness to embrace social connectedness, but how are we going to do that? So we, as the connection, we're in a good position to lead this work, because we know our community is really hungry for more information and understanding social connectedness, what it means in our community, for the various communities, and what we can do as a community to align around, priorities and strategies for social connectedness. So we know that social disconnectedness and loneliness can affect anyone, but some groups face higher risk. And that's our older adults, age 65 and older, Gen Zs and millennials, people with lower incomes, chronic illnesses, disabilities, and mental health challenges. Of course, our BIPOC, LGBTQ plus immigrant communities are at greater risk for social isolation, as are our caregivers, new parents, veterans, and people in rural areas. So to guide this work, we've assembled an advisory group of nearly 24 organizations who work with these populations, who are really the experts in understanding the unique challenges facing these communities and in designing and delivering solutions that work. So you can go to the next slide. Oh, yeah. And before we go to that, so speaking of all those experts, yeah, so we believe that our community members and leaders are the experts of their own communities and can determine the best courses of action to suit their unique context. So we pulled this big advisory committee together. So like since January, I've been reaching out to all the groups. You can go to the next slide, Sarah. So we have about 24 folks, representatives of these groups who agreed to be part of this initiative. So we had our first meeting at the Appleton Public Library on April 21st. We had a really good showing, about 20 people. And if you haven't been to the new library, check it out. It's an amazing community space, beautiful meeting rooms. So we were lucky to host our first meeting there and showcase this amazing community space that is fostering social connectedness in our community. And just want to give a shout out to Karen Iverson Ringers and Lynn McLaughlin. I think Lynn's on the call. Hey, Lynn, from Ebb and Flow Connections Cooperative. They are partnering with us on this initiative and co-facilitating this work. And Lynn and Karen have Ebb and Flow Connections Cooperative. They are the co-owners, co-creators of that organization, and they are doing amazing work in social connectedness in our community and have really evolved to be not just local, but state leaders in social connectedness. So we're so lucky and fortunate that they are part of this initiative with us. So our work plan moving forward is we're taking stock of all of our existing efforts and resources. We're studying and reviewing data trends to understand the risk factors and protective factors around social connectedness, where we're going to have our leverage points, explore and vet new strategies that could be for a good fit for our community, and then synthesize all of this into a community report. And then this time next year, hopefully for May Mental Health Awareness Month, we're going to be unveiling this report, this roadmap to the community. So we had our first meeting on April 21st. We brought everyone together. And, when Lynn, Karen, and I were planning that first meeting, we were having a lot of discussions about our desire for this work. And that as a group, what we want to model is what we want to achieve: authentic social connectedness. Because at its core, social connectedness, a bedrock, is building those trusted relationships. So as the saying goes, progress moves at the speed of trust. So we really want to create an environment of openness, mutual respect, and safe place for open and honest dialogue. So we were designing a meeting that was going to feel less like a meeting and more like people coming together and creating opportunities for us to get to know each other and learn about each other, to start forming those trusting relationships. So that's the goal, but that's the work that we plan to do. So during our first meeting, our first group exercise led by Karen and Lynn was to establish our group values and norms to guide this work. And what the group came up with were really good reminders. I think how, all of us can work in groups. And that was, we made a commitment to accountability, that if we make a mistake, we're going to own it. We'll make reparations, but also we're going to have grace for one another when we make a mistake, and, lean into, positive intent, that people come into these spaces with positive intentions, and that we can grow trust when we truly listen, when we're active listeners, and we can be present. We can build trust when we stay curious and can be brave to lean into discomfort when needed. The group wanted us to all be aware that each person's story is valid but doesn't represent everyone. So we're going to try to avoid making overgeneralizations, and that it's okay to challenge ideas, but not people. And this was an important sort of value that was brought up, that in these spaces, we're going to be self-aware to give space and take space. So that if we love to talk and share ideas, if we're one of those extroverted persons in a meeting, maybe we can rein it in a little and to create space for others who maybe typically hold back or aren't as experienced, comfortable, coming to big community meetings and sharing ideas and feedback. So as part of our first meeting, we also began discussions around planning community listening sessions. So a big part of this work, of course, is we want it to be informed by the lived experience. So we want to go out to these various communities and get their feedback and really understand what social connectedness looks like for them, what's lacking, what we can improve upon as a community. But what we learned is that hosting community listening sessions is apparently a really common tool used by organization. It makes sense. They're seeking to inform community priorities and projects. But despite good intentions, there has been some over asking of various organizations to recruit individuals with lived experience, that they'll get invited, they come share their stories, they make themselves vulnerable. And then, like, what happened? They may not see follow-up or feel like there was any change. And that can lead to, frustration and distrust, with maybe some questioning, like, what was the point of that? Why was that? Was that a waste of my time? So advisory group members emphasize, we need to be really thoughtful as we plan these listening sessions to make sure that they're empowering rather than depleting. So moving forward, we plan to have individualized conversations with our advisory group members about how we can do better. Maybe we'll plan to go to people in their familiar spaces. We can offer virtual options. We talked about, compensating participants for their time. They're the experts in their communities. So of course we want to value their time. So we can do that by maybe offering stipends for their time. And we just want to make sure that people feel heard and valued. So our group is going to meet every other month. In the off months, we'll do one-on-one conversations with them to go deeper and understand all the work that these agencies and organizations are doing. And then, so this time next year, we plan to release the comprehensive report with the findings and recommendations. And our hope is that this report will spark new projects, strengthen existing ones, and inspire deeper collaborations across our region. And also the hope that, if we can create the space to foster relationships, that's when we can enter like the dream space and folks can find synergy, and maybe there's different organizations, with similar projects that can come together and partner. So there's a lot of opportunity just beyond what we're doing by creating the space for people, to build those relationships. We imagine that there'll be some rich opportunities that will come out of this. So we plan to keep the community informed. We've set up a dedicated page on our website with updates. So if you want to check it out or read our meeting minutes or follow along, you can find it on our organization website, newmentalhealthconnection.org. Thanks.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's been an amazing initiative to watch unfold. I was able to be at that first advisory committee meeting, and the intentionality with which trust is being built in this group is really key to being able to understand what is social connection and what are the barriers and what is working, and to really move the needle forward. I think Wendy said, we move at the pace of trust. And that is truly how this work is being done. And Lynn and Karen are truly experts in this space of creating an atmosphere of allowing voices to be heard, and then following that up with action, right? That's where our community comes into play, and collaboration, and you as members around how do we tackle this issue once we have really good local data and resources on what's working and what's not working from a variety of perspectives and populations of our community. So if you have any questions, there's Wendy's email, and it is under initiatives on the N.E.W. mentalhealthconnection.org website. So thanks, Wendy. Okay, so we are in the final stretch here. This is just your reminder to not forget to update your listing on the myconnectionnew.org website, and to add your agency if it's not on there. I think once somebody adds or changes their listing, I get an email and approve it, and it's just that simple. So you have full control over your listing on the service navigation website. And we are going to be driving folks to that website all month long with our posts on Facebook and on Instagram. We encourage you to like the connections pages and to share those so we can continue to reach broader audiences, as well as the social media toolkit. So I know some folks like to just know what's coming and how can they post what they want on their own organizational websites. So on the newmentalhealthconnection.org. So once you've updated on myconnectionnew.org, then hop over to N.E.W mentalhealthconnection.org, and you can download the social media toolkit under news and events. There is a page for our Mental Health Awareness Month for 2025, gives you some more information, and then Wendy will be updating that on a regular basis with new posts that you can then download and upload to your organization's social media pages. Also, we have heard from a handful of folks who might work for organizations that have firewalls that are preventing our meeting reminders and our calendar invites from getting through. So we wanted to make sure to let you all know where to find that. And that is also on the newmentalhealthconnection.org website under membership. You can find the whole calendar series there. Click on it, add it to your calendar, and then you are good to go for either our morning in-person meeting from 7:30 to 8:30 at Catalpa, or you'll have the link then for the Zoom meeting here at 11:30 to 12:30. So it's great to see you, and we don't want you to miss any information. So the newsletters are also posted there if that is of interest to you as well. So with that, happy Mental Health Awareness Month. So excited to be able to present this campaign and to have you all contribute to it by posting and lifting up resources, letting us know other resources in our community that need to be added to our specialty pages. The recording of the meeting and the slides will be found on the newmentalhealthconnection.org website under membership, and our next meeting will be in the middle of summer. We'll be in the thick of the heat, and I can't wait. So July 10th, if you want to come in person, we'd love to see you at 7:30. Otherwise, Zoom at 11:30. And with that, we're going to give you 15 minutes back of your lunch. Unless anyone has any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to come off of mute and share anything there might be to share or questions that you have for Wendy or Lindsay or me. And if not, I hope that everyone has a fantastic rest of the day. I hope you enjoy the sunshine and you can get out for a noon walk with this extra 15 minutes or something fantastic with some fresh air. So I'm so glad you could join us. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll talk soon.